and welcome back. Now, the main guy isn't here today, so I will be showing you around this Volkswagen Crafter that we've got just to this side of me. Now, there is a little bit of a backstory to this van. This is a 2021 4x4 Volkswagen Crafter in Indian grey, as far as I'm aware. It's absolutely beautiful van. So when this came to us, originally we did some electrical upgrades on this vehicle, or should I say Powerhouse actually did that. And while they were here, they kind of explained that they wasn't happy with the vehicle. So this was a fully converted van done by another company. Now, as far as we're aware, we actually loved the van when it came in. We loved the layout, we loved the colour scheme, but that's not for us to actually decide, and the customer didn't like the layout, and also the bed was only 3.5 foot wide, and that was a big thing for them. So they actually said to us, is this something that you could do? Actually changing this van completely, ripping it all out and starting from scratch. So that was one of the choices that they had to make. The other choice was sell the van as a complete build and then start again. But buying a Volkswagen Crafter, a 4x4 Volkswagen Crafter, is sometimes quite hard to do. Quite hard to find one in good condition, and the customer had actually spent a fair bit on the van, the internals of the actual van itself. So the decision was that we were going to rip it out and we're going to start again and change the full layout. So at the moment, Joe is just finishing the last little bits of this vehicle. The customers have picked the van up already and they're super happy with it, but we didn't quite get it finished in time before they needed to take it away and use the van for a couple of nights. So we said if you could bring it back so we can just put a little bit more paint on there, and just, I think there was a garage light and some other little bits that we needed to do. But as you can see, this van is absolutely awesome. The externals of the van, you've got the bullbar on the front, you've got the spotlights in the front, the beautiful off-road wheels on there. These windows were already in there from the previous conversion. Now we have added the side pods because the layout is totally different from before. This is a kind of traditional coalition layout, or should I say a more popular choice of layout, tried and tested, and this is what people seem to go for. On the rear of the vehicle, we've got the aggressive wheel carrier, ladder, box system. So other things on this vehicle, it's got the Thule Omnister. That'll be probably a 3.6 metre awning on there, I think, and it has got the external light also. Now this vehicle has got a pop top on it, so our Joe's just going to pop that up for you now. Oh yes. So when I mentioned the bed to you, we've made the bed slightly bigger. So I think we had 3.6 foot on the bed. We've now managed to get 4 foot on the width, and also, as I've just mentioned, the pop top creates another double bed. So this vehicle essentially sleeps 4 people. Just down this side of the vehicle, we've got the water inlet, and then we've got the electric hookup point just there. Now, a couple of issues that we've actually had to get around was, because this was previously built, these points were positioned for the existing layout. Because we've now had a new layout, we've had to try and use these rather than putting excess holes and moving stuff around and then having to do fill and bodywork and things like that. We've had to still use these and just kind of maneuver everything around there. One thing that we couldn't do, so up here, the shower was previously here. So this is the shower fan. And we've had to put another one in just down here because the shower is here now and not over here. The best way of combating that was to actually leave that in place and just add the other one rather than taking that off. and leaving a massive hole. So I'm going to show you in the rear of the vehicle first, because Joe is just finishing off giving it a last lick of paint. So let's mind my head and we'll just pop the rear open. One of the main aims of building this van was to try and create as much storage as possible, but we didn't have a lot of space to actually work with. As I've said already, the bed had to be made bigger than 3.5 foot. The maximum we could do was 4 foot, because we had to add the shower and also an L-shaped seating, which I'll show you shortly. On the rear, we've kept the existing door cards. We've just freshened them up a little bit. These also came with the van, so we've added them again because they're really useful for the storage. Into the garage, we have added all these little compartments. We've got one at the top. Same on this side, we've got one down here, one here, and then 2 at the top. There is no electrics in the rear of this vehicle. We have decided that we would try and add the electrics under the front seat as compact as possible in order to just create all this maximum storage area in the garage. And we've also added these beautiful double doors on the rear. To the right, we've got a switch there which puts on a little bit of nice ambient lighting in the garage. Now in the bedroom at the back, we've got double overhead storage on each side of there with the little lock handles on there. All these doors have got the little locks on there, although they're not really needed on the overheads, but they do tie into the rest of the vehicle really nice. Over on the back of the shower, that switch there, that's the one. We've got a switch that turns on the bedroom lights. And then the ceiling of this vehicle is done in 6mm lats because we haven't needed to join any of these lats. So the 6mm has worked really well. And then we've got the full length lights that run all the way down. So I'm just going to shut this without killing myself. And then I will show you in the front of the vehicle. In fact, while I'm waiting for Joe to do this last bit of painting, I'm just going to show you in the behind the driver's seat. I've tried to add in as much electrics as I can into the front of the vehicle. Now these seats are absolutely gorgeous. The original van had this sort of colour scheme throughout in the back, the grey and the, is it like a mustard sort of colour, tan. So behind this seat, under the seat, we have got the Multiplus 2 3000 VA, and then behind here we've added the MPPT and the 2 Orions, and down the bottom we've got the Serbo. All this feeds through this bulkhead into the seat. So on the side door, Joe's going to show you in there in a minute to follow on from the electrics in the front, but I'll just come to the side door. We've got the electric step which we had a fault with, so we have now added a manual switch onto the side of the vehicle just there. We've also got this little extra storage pocket down here, and above this switch we have got a switch for the awning light. So in this section here we have got all the shut-offs and fuses all together in one position. I think that's a good idea to do, just so you're not moving all over the place to different points. If you want to isolate, you can do it in one place. We've got the solar shut off, the sockets and the electric hookup coming in. We've got the main fuses for the inverter, the 12-volt loads and the DC to DC on the end. This is for the MPPT. And then we've got all the 12-volt blade fuses and the main the 12-volt blade shut off for all this. These are the Pro batteries, so these can be isolated at each battery, and the main fuse over the back. To the right here we have made sure that we can create a little bit more space, so we've got a storage area to the right hand side of all the electric, And on the front of this L shape, we have a 240 socket with USB and USB-C. Now I'm just going to put the cushions back on and show you this again, looking a little bit more pretty. So this is the L-shaped seating area with all the cushions on. We've got this lovely grey. We've done a slightly lighter grey than we've got on the cupboards, but the cupboards are really, really nice. They've got a nice contrast with the satin white that's on all the walls. And then we've got the lagoon style table. To this side, we've got a lovely kitchen unit with 50 litre fridge freezer. We've got a small microwave above there. And then we've got a storage area with a shelf. And on the top, we've got the bamboo worktop. So the 16mm, they work really well in a smaller build. You're just creating that little bit extra space. On the end of here, we have the flip up. And also something we've done on this one that we've never done before. We've got the chopping board style for the sink, but we also have this little end compartment with the single induction hob, and then you can place this piece back in there. So while this is being used, you've still got the maximum amount of work surface. You can also use this to store other items as well. Over on the back of the kitchen, we've got a double socket, and then we've got all the switches. So the first switch is the main lights. The second is the seating area over here. The third one's for the kitchen, so you can just put on the kitchen light if somebody's in bed or someone's down this area. You're not annoying anyone by putting lights on and off. And then the end switch is just for basically the mood lights underneath, so you can either have them on or not have them on. The other switches are over the back of the shower. So we've actually got the shower switch and the lighting for the bedroom, which I've already shown you. Above the kitchen, we have another storage unit there. And below the kitchen, we have just recently added this little section just to fit this Bluetooth speaker. So we've made this nice and tight so this don't fall out while it's driving. You can also get your phone, put that on the shelf and charge that. So we've made that for 2 phones and the speaker. So here we have the shower unit with the toilet in there. I'm not gonna turn the shower on because there is some toilet roll down there and I don't want to make everything wet, but we've got the hot and cold water. We've got the shower there and the ventilation over the back. The switch here runs the light and the actual fan. And in the bottom, we've got the stainless steel shower tray, which is powder coated in grey. And also this back panel here is a stainless steel sheet, which is powder coated in the same grey to match and follow all the way through. On the front of the bed from the inside, we've got the matching double doors in grey. So you can actually open these and access anything that you've got in the garage area to bring back into the van. And then over to the bed. So originally this van had a 3'6" bed. We've now created a 4 foot width, and the length of this bed with the side pods is just over 6 foot. On the end of the overhead for the kitchen, we've actually got the air dispatcher heater. So this will also blow warm air, and it also be used as a blower as well without the hot air. Over the seating area, we've got 2 storage cupboards. Plenty of room in these, they're nice and deep. And in this cupboard here, we have got the Victron 50 monitor that shows all your battery percentages, all your solar coming in, your fresh water, your wastewater. We can turn the water pump on and off, and we can also turn the inverter into inverter only, charger, and both on or off. Also, we made this little unique surround on there to sort of tie in with all the lats. We think that looks quite nice. And I'll just pop these lights on. We've got USB chargers up here and a little light, but you have a look up there. On the side door, we've got the fly net, which is really useful, especially if you're going to Scotland. but avoid Scotland in summer. I think that's about it. Have you got anything to say, Joe, about this beautiful Volkswagen Crafter? No? No. What about if you've said it all? What about if anybody wants a vehicle doing a little bit like this? What would you say? Come here. Come here and get it done. How about that? Thanks a lot for watching. Do all the likes and subscribes for Liam's channel. Any queries, contact Liam or myself or Coalition Vans. If you want any electric work, contact Powerhouse Off Grid and we will be happy to help. Until then, see you next time. Always come and go. If they saying stay the same, they don't want you to fucking grow. I speak the truth, I bet they feel it.